Hello viewers and welcome to a epilogue episode of Space Hulk. Recently I had finished a Let's Play of the game. We didn't finish the entirety of the campaign, but I felt like we left off in a good location. I mean, we demonstrated essentially all of the game mechanics. We looked at the different unit choices and the different scenarios that were quite interestingly built. And we just kind of left off there because the missions were getting quite advanced, and I feel like I've essentially shown off what the game has, and chances are is that people at this point would have probably bought the game if they felt like it was worth their money. So inside this video, I just wanted to talk about my thoughts on the game. Personally, I think there were a few things that could be added on extra or done differently to kind of give this thing a little more shelf life, because as of right now, on the Steam page, it's actually quite expensive for, or rather, in my opinion, for a strategy game, it's quite expensive in that if you look at it, inside the campaign, you only really get so many missions. Definitely, this is a multiplayer title. Obviously because it is based upon a board game, but what I think that they could have done differently was how they really approached the game and how they could have really used the digital aspect better in a sense. For example, I noticed that all of the briefings here, and I'll actually demonstrate that once again. Let's take a look at breaching the prequel campaign, really, were the training missions, and let's take a look at one of their briefings, and let's just see what happens, right?
Squad Lorenzo is under attack. With the return of Brother Zale, your brethren were tasked with locating an aging control room just beyond our perimeter. However, fighting around the beachhead has drawn more gene stealers than expected out of hiding. Our forces must break through before they are cut off. Sergeant of the squad, accept your orders. One squad is available for your command. Terminators enter here.
Yeah, and the thing you'll notice here
from these points
is that the majority of the briefing dialogue, it's fairly genetic, right? And then with that said, one of the things that I feel like that should really be included inside the game is the ability to either randomly generate a campaign or alternatively add a mission editor to the game where you can essentially build your own missions and then possibly create the little briefings by yourself. Due to the nature of the game, I mean, going back to one of those briefings, we're not going to look into it very in depth, but you see that the map here is essentially generated by itself. I mean, the game can generate one of those. I don't believe you really need to, get out a copy of Adobe Illustrator and draw those yourself, right? So with that said, adding a game editor or a randomized campaign or mission maker to the game would have really put this title into its price range rather well. Of course, for multiplayer, it would be nice to have that editor to build more missions, but I do feel like the campaign here actually does give you quite a good amount of different unique scenarios. But hey, with only 12 and a fairly limited amount of units, right? I mean, everybody likes bigger scaled games, and that's kind of why we have the Total War series, right? I feel like one of the things that they could have done was really opened it up to that, to at least give players some map control, some map development tools, because if I actually go inside this menu system, we actually don't really have much inside the secondary menu options like the librarium over here. One of the things that you can do is you can essentially customize your banner, and you essentially earn different banner rewards throughout the portion of the game. Most of these, they're not really that different. I mean, what we can do here is that we'll go with that, and then our banner is actually displayed inside the background here. But there's really not much here. I mean, you have a manual which does a fairly decent job in explaining where is what, and I suppose this is essentially a copy of the rule book. And you'll see here that the only thing that we haven't really looked at is the Broodlord over here, but I don't know if he appears inside the game really late, or maybe because they just didn't decide to put one down onto the map for us. Anyhow, yeah, one of the bigger things is map building, and the other thing is that apparently this game is available for mobile iOS devices, and I've actually yet to be able to find this this game inside the iOS store. Now, bear in mind that I'm inside Canada and we have a different store than the majority of the US, so that might be a issue. But you really run into that conflict where it's like, okay, well, you're designing an iOS game, so what are you going to price it on? I mean, the most expensive, reasonably expensive within reason, iOS priced applications are typically around the $20 mark, so I don't really expect them to put a $30 game onto your iPhone or your what's it called, iTouch or something like that, and really go from there. Of course, it might be for the tablet, but then again, you're still running into that issue where your budgeting is a little high. I've yet to try the matchmaking or the map multiplayer, simply because I haven't been able to really get past the account creation for whatever reason. Anyhow. Yeah, my main gripe is that there is a little bit too little content. That's the first one. And the second one is that a lot of people are complaining about the lack of canon for the game. Fans of the Warhammer 40k universe and all that find that there were a few problems with the storyline. For example, if you recall from the first part inside the Let's Play, there was that intro video that showed that there was 1,000 Space Marines sent there. Well, actually, one of these chapters, so the Blood Angels in the canon, I believe, only actually have 1,000 Space Marines in total. So with that said, it kind of messes with the people who really value their immersion with the storyline and all. But my main point is that there are a few immersion factors that could be done better. For example, inside the campaign, we do have that little side view at the top right corner of the screen, showing what the Space Marines or Terminator squads, which are the elite Space Marines, can actually see. It would have been actually cool for them to include maybe like a third campaign, or maybe just a mission inside one of these campaigns where you really use that technology and you really use that little FOV or POV camera to actually move your guys around the map. I think that would have been really cool. Would have given you a kind of an old school dungeon crawler feel to the game. And well, it doesn't necessarily play that much into the gameplay, but I mean, if they were able to do that right, get the monitors set up and everything, so then the doors were synced to the enemies and stuff like that, and people were looking directly forward into the hallways, whereas opposed to looking like slightly to the left into the wall or the side panels, right? I think that would have been actually really cool to just kind of see a mission like that, where you get the briefing, you get the map once, and then you essentially play a slower paced game where you try to get, I don't know, maybe 2-3 guys throughout a very windy maze. Anyhow, that's all I really wanted to say for this episode. I'll see you guys later on where we play some other games. Till then.